groaned as she woke up from being unconscious. The last thing she remembered was getting beaten to a pulp, with her clothes being torn off her body in a cruel manner by Surabe's guards. She shuddered after recalling the way the guards touched her skin in a rough manner and left her with bruises along with scars of the physical and mental kind. But when she opened her eyes, she saw the most unusual sight, namely, a man who had snake-like features on his face. Ah! Soraya shouted as she immediately got up and slapped the man's face in a panic before rolling off the bed she was in. Ow, my nose! The snake man muttered as he tried to catch her, only for Soraya to dodge him. She jumped over his tail before running out of the building she was in and ran as fast as she could, only to find more buildings similar to this one. Even more surprising was that everything was dark except for the amount of glowing crystals surrounding the area, which distracted Soraya for a bit until she heard the snake man's voice again. Hey, wait! Come back! I'm not done with you yet! He shouted. Get away from me! Tahir! Yaska! Help me! Soraya cried out, hoping her brother and friend was around here somewhere. Fortunately, she was able to find Tahir and Yasika, along with Nasir, Gordafarid, Rostam, and even her dog Madosh present. She quickly ran towards him in both relief and worry, as she didn't know whether this place was safe or not. Guys! Thank goodness I found you! We need to get out of here! Soraya, what are you doing out of bed? You're supposed to be resting! Yasika exclaimed in shock, causing Soraya to stop in her tracks from confusion. Wait, what do you mean by that? Ah! Soraya screamed as she felt the scaly reptilian fingers of the snake man from earlier finally grabbing her. Gotcha! The snake man shouted, causing Soraya to try and escape from his grasp. Get your hands off of me! Soraya shouted as she began hitting him with her fist. Soraya, calm down! Nasir pleaded as he approached the panicking princess. He's just trying to help you, for crying out loud. Look at your limbs! What? Soraya asked as she finally took notice of her arms and legs, which were wrapped in a cloth of some kind and emitted a strange scent with a distinct fragrance to them. Not just that, she noticed that the wounds and injuries she sustained from the beatdown earlier were completely gone. My bruises, my scars, it's like they were never there. But how? That's what I was trying to tell you, the snake man answered in a slight annoyance. But then you punched me in the face and ran off before I could apply the final treatment. Wait, how long was I out? What is this place? Soraya asked as she tried to take in this information. Perhaps I can explain, the snake woman from earlier said as she slithered towards the princess. My name is Manasa, and the one that you punched earlier is Vasuki, my friend. I believe it is best that you sit down before you hurt yourself. Okay then, Soraya reluctantly agreed as she sat down on one of the benches that was available with her brother and Yasika, while Nasir, Gordafarid, and Rostam continued to remain standing. Judging from how surprisingly relaxed everyone else was compared to her, Soraya decided to calm down and trust in Manasa. Now, to answer your question on where you are in the underground realm of Nagaina, Manasa explained. It is a place built by our ancestors in order to keep ourselves safe from any outside threats. As for how long you were unconscious, it was approximately 3 days. 3 days? Soraya exclaimed in shock. But how did my wounds get treated so quickly? I thought they would take a week at best, if not a month to heal. We of the Naga tribe specialize in healing as well as herbal medicinal treatments towards those who have been injured, Manasa explained. As a result, our medical treatments have been able to heal those whose injuries would have taken weeks, if not months, to heal in only a few days. Really? Soraya asked in surprise. Then how come I've never heard of you up until now? Why haven't more people known about your healing abilities? The moment she asked this, Manasa and even Vasuki put on expressions of sadness, if not anger, but not towards her. Even the rest of the gang, like her brother and Yasika, winced at the sudden change in tone, though, judging from their expressions, it was as if they knew what the answer was going to be. You can thank Dahak for that, Manasa revealed in a bitter tone, causing Soraya to drop her jaw in shock and horror. His actions subsequently caused our people to be driven from the surface and forced underground, with many refusing our services out of distrust and prejudice towards those who had snakes as their symbols. So Dahak ruined your lives too? Soraya asked in sympathy. I'm so sorry, I had no idea, but what could he have gained from harming you guys? Before Manasa could answer her question, the older snake woman, Janguli, arrived and slithered towards the group with a rather serious expression on her face. Everyone, I would ask that you follow me to the meeting room immediately. she asked in a calm yet urgent tone before turning to Soraya. And you, Princess Soraya, your presence is most certainly requested by our leader, now that you are healed, it seems. Yes, Aunt Janguli, Manasa said with a bow before turning to the rest of the group. Please follow us to the meeting room at once. Yes, we will, Tahir agreed as he got back up from the ground. Upon seeing Soraya's nervous expression, he gently nudged her as his way of consoling her before speaking up once more. It's okay, no one's going to hurt you. All right, then, Soraya said nervously as she and the group walked alongside the slithering Naga folk, who guided them through the underground world that was Nagaina. Not only did the place continue to shimmer thanks to the glowing minerals still stuck inside the ceiling and walls, but there were many different images etched on said walls. Some had images of snakes with scenery of fauna and flora surrounding the snake-like figures, which Soraya could only guess was their original home before they were driven underground. But what stood out to Soraya the most was the image of a masculine figure with 6 wings and wearing royal robes with a crown on his head. While it had been months since she had seen such an image, she immediately recognized the figure for who he was. Omorazda, Soraya said in her mind. So they worship him as well. Then again, I shouldn't be surprised since he is the creator of everyone and everything. Once they arrived at the meeting room, which was in a building with sharpened edges on the roof and sides with the red, green, and brown color scheme. It also had more snake-like figures on the front entrance, which unnerved Soraya a bit, but with silent encouragement from her brother and Yasuka, she found the courage to enter it. As soon as she did, she saw that the room was packed with various Nagas, like Manasa, Janguli, and Vasuki, which made the room feel even more crowded than before. Wow, talk about crowded, Nasir commented, sharing Soraya's surprise. Can we even fit in here? Rostam asked with concern. There seems to be barely any room for us. Don't worry, there should be some room for you guys, Vasuki assured Rostam. Please, make yourselves at home. The group did just that, as they found their spots to sit amongst the many Naga members who were gathered in the room they were in. After a few minutes of small talk, silent reflections, and waiting, the room fell into a hush when another Naga arrived. It was an older-looking woman who wore a colorful crown which featured feathers, jewels, and what appeared to be more snake scales. She not only slithered on a snake tail like the other Nagas did, but she seemed more pale and tall compared to the rest of them. The snake scales on her lower half, along with some of her facial features and arms, were glistening with white colors that gave her an even more exotic look than before. Everyone, the mysterious Naga woman said, I am glad to see that we have gathered here for this special occasion, and welcome to our humble abode, Princess Soraya and Prince Tahir of Bahar. We also welcome those of the Frumi tribe, the Rumi tribe, the Sky Monk Sanctuary, and Kaveh, the first rebel. Thank you, Soraya replied. But may I ask, who are you? I don't recall seeing you before, given that I was unconscious for a few days. I am the Shah Maran, the woman replied in a gentle tone. I am the leader of the Naga tribe and have existed for centuries. For you see, the Nagas possess a far longer lifespan than most humans do, even if they possess special abilities like we do. I am also the one Feridun kept in contact with during his time as a dragon and served as his secret ally with the rest of my tribe. Oh, so you're the one who Feridun was talking about, Soraya realized as she recalled him mentioning the secret tribe he was allied with. That would explain why the Naga suddenly showed up at Surabe's palace. Speaking of which, what happened to her? She escaped, sadly enough, Tahir revealed in a bitter tone. She and her surviving cronies were able to escape in the chaos, most likely with Dahak's assistance. Don't worry about the slaves, though, Yasuka assured her. We managed to rescue them and bring them back to the secret base. They should be fine. That's good to hear, Soraya said in relief, but not before turning back to the Shamaran. But there is one thing I'm curious about. Why were we brought here? What did you want from us? The Shamaran stared at the princess with a forlorn expression, but with nods of encouragement coming from Janguli, she revealed something Soraya didn't expect to hear. I believe it is time to tell you the origins of the one you call Dahak, the Shamaran stated in a serious tone. Dahak? You know where he came from? Who was he? Why is he doing all this? Soraya asked in both surprise and excitement. Any information they had on Dahak would be incredibly useful for the rebellion. Soraya, calm down, Gordafari insisted. She's about to tell you like she told the rest of us. Oh, good point. Soraya conceded as she shut up and allowed the Shamaran to speak once more. Thank you, the Naga said as she continued her speech. But before I tell you his story, what do you know about him? Well, to be fair, not much, Soraya admitted in embarrassment. All I heard was that he used to be human, and that was about it. Though my brother did mention his theory that Dahak was corrupted by a demonic source, one that came from Anhria, mind you. That is correct, the Shamaran confirmed with a heavy nod. However, Dahak was no mere human, as he was quite powerful due to having come from a certain tribe with unique abilities that made them stand out compared to most humans of Avesta. A certain tribe? Soraya asked as she pondered on what the Shamaran was implying before coming to the realization. Wait, are you saying that Dahak was a member of the Nagas? Is that why your people have such a bad reputation on the surface? Yes, it is, unfortunately for us, the Shamaran confirmed with another nod. You see, Dahak was a member of our tribe until he betrayed us by making a deal with Anhria Mainu, the evil one. But why? What could he have gained from selling his soul like that? What even prompted him to do something so blasphemous? Soraya asked. He wanted power, and to gain the most knowledge for himself, the Shamaran revealed. Even when he was a child, he was always rather ambitious and yearned to gain the most knowledge, no matter the cost. You know how there's the saying, knowledge is power? Well, in his case, he took it to its most extreme and terrifying conclusion. And that led to making a deal with Anhria Mainu? Soraya asked with worry, despite knowing the answer. It did, yes, the Shamaran confirmed. Anhria Mainu approached him in the form of an old man who claimed he could give him the secret knowledge and wisdom he so desperately craved. Unfortunately, it came at a terrible price, which not only involved his humanity, but also half of our people's lives in the process. Hearing this made Soraya's heart drop to her stomach with horror. No, she thought to herself in disbelief. So he sacrificed his own people as part of his deal with the evil one? Judging from the grimaces and wincing expressions of her brother and friends, she assumed they already knew the story, thanks to having heard of it while she was unconscious. I tried to stop him, the Shamaran revealed in a somber tone. Believe me, I tried, but he was always so secretive about his plans and refused to talk about where he was going or what he was doing. Even when I personally mentored him using his abilities to help others and pursue knowledge that would assist others in the long run, he wouldn't listen to me. He continued down the dark path he set himself on. There was no saving him, which I found out the hard way after discovering he not only made a deal with Anhria Mainu, but also willingly sacrificed half of our people in the process. Said sacrifice also included his parents too, showing just how far he had gone in order to get what he wanted. But that was only the beginning of his treachery, I'm afraid, for he continued to grow worse over time. Using his manipulations and lies, he began corrupting King Jamshid by claiming he could become equal to Omorazda, which wasn't too difficult given how arrogant the king had become by the time he met him. When the people started to show disillusionment in the king after seeing how foolhardy he was becoming, he then used this chance to oust him and execute him in the most brutal and humiliating way possible. Thus began the dark era of Avesta under Dahak's control. I see, Soraya commented after taking in this dark story before turning to the others. I assume she told the rest of you about this already? Yes, she did, Gordafari confirmed with a nod of her own. She told us everything while you were unconscious. And I'm going to assume that Dahak's actions made the Naga tribe's lives harder than before, Soraya asked with concern. Sadly, it did, the Shamaran replied. Thanks to what he did to King Jamshid and the tyranny he exerted over everyone, our people were blamed for his actions, and we were scapegoated by the rest of Avesta. As a result, we were forced underground and stayed down here for centuries. Even when we do leave our nest and explore Avesta to get food or find allies, we had to hide our powers in order to blend in due to Dahak giving snakes a bad name. Figures, Nasir commented with a frown. That would explain why you and your people weren't able to join my ancestors' first rebellion. I am sorry to hear that, Soraya said in sympathy. I knew Dahak was a monster, but to think he would betray not only his family, but ruin their lives without a care. It's unbelievable to think he was ever human to begin with. Perhaps he was human in skin, but in soul, not so much, Tahir commented with distaste. Anyways, another reason why she gathered all of us here was because she wanted to tell you personally, given the prophecy. Really now? Soraya asked in mild surprise, though at this rate she felt that she shouldn't even be surprised anymore, given how widespread the prophecy seemed to be at this rate. Yes, I know about the prophecy regarding you and your brother, the Shamaran explained. I am also willing to extend our alliance, not only with the Frumi tribe, but also with what is left of Kave's family and the Sky Monk Sanctuary. However, I will only do this with your permission, since you and your brother are technically the ones who will lead us in the fight against Dahak. That's great, Soraya replied before standing up. As Princess of Bahar and one of the heirs to the throne, I hereby accept your request for an alliance. What about you, Tahir? You think we should add the Nagas to the rebellion? Yes, we should, Tahir agreed with a nod. I believe this fulfills the prophecy and makes things easier for us from here on out. Agreed, Soraya said in response as she turned back to the Shamaran. So, let's say we organize a meeting between your people and the Frumi tribe. I'm sure the chief will be quite pleased to hear that we are all right. Actually, we already arranged for a meeting while you were unconscious, Gordify had revealed. Feridun left a while ago in order to send a message to my father on where we are right now. Oh, is that so? I was wondering why I didn't see him earlier, Soraya commented. Suddenly, the meeting was interrupted by a loud knocking noise coming from outside, which immediately put everyone on edge. Oh no, it's not more Deeves, is it? Soraya asked herself in fear as she instinctively stepped closer to her brother, who stood by her protectively. However, it wasn't until Rostam and Tahir used their enhanced smells, with Tahir using his enhanced hearing at the same time, did they calm down a bit. The Shamaran also used her own enhanced senses by flicking her tongue akin to a snake before smiling and easing up on the tension as she made another announcement. Do not be alarmed, everyone, she assured the others. It is Feridun. He must have returned with good news of some kind. Thank Omurasa for that, Soraya said in relief as she watched the Shamaran slither away with some of the other Nagas to the secret entrance that was above ground. As she watched them leave her line of sight, she turned to the rest of the group and Nagas nearby, but not before giving Vasuki an apology of her own. Also, I'm sorry for punching you in the face and attacking you earlier. It's fine, Vasuki assured her. You didn't know any better. At the very least, we can clear up any more misunderstandings now that we're allies. Yeah, I guess we can, Soraya said with more hope in her tone than before. I think we have a better chance of defeating Dahak now. As soon as she said this, her dog Madosh, whose injuries were non-existent thanks to the Nagas, barked in agreement, prompting the princess to bend down and embrace her. Oh, I missed you so much. I'm so glad you're okay. Madosh responded by licking her face happily while she laughed with joy, causing her brother, along with her friends and even the other Naga members, to smile at the sight. Seeing her happy again was a much-needed breather, given how terrified she was earlier. Yes, we do have a chance to save Avesta, and hopefully restore it to its former glory, Tahir said with a hopeful grin.